for the LifeSci NYC career panel on Behind the Lab Bench, Exploring Career Options in the Life Sciences. This panel is hosted by the LifeSci NYC internship program. My name is Zara or Zaruhi Karapetyan. I'm the Career Development Manager for the program, and I will be moderating today's career panel. And to give you an overview, we will start with a quick program introduction, followed by introductions to today's panelists. And our wonderful panelists will discuss their career paths and offer advice for students on how to explore different careers in the life sciences industry. And the event will conclude with an opportunity for Q&A. This meeting is also live streaming on the LifeSci NYC internship program YouTube channel. So because we have a high number of participants, those who are on the Zoom, like at any time, feel free to write any questions you have in the chat. We will answer them at the end of this discussion. You will also have the opportunity to ask questions out loud by using the hand raise option on Zoom. Also, this session will be recorded and the video link will be shared via email. So, next slide, please. So, brief background of our program. The LifeSci NYC internship program is part of the New York City Economic Development Corporation's 10 years, $1 billion initiative to grow life sciences industry in New York City. The program offers paid internships and part-time and full-time job opportunities for both undergraduate and graduate students, as well as recent graduates in either science or business management roles. And since 2017, we have placed over 1,200 interns at more than 240 companies and organizations in New York City. New internships are coming in all the time, and this is a single location where you can complete one application per academic year and have access to job listings at multiple companies. Next slide, please. So we created a series of career profiles that offer an overview of career options in the life sciences industry. Each profile includes details about educational requirements, job responsibilities, desired skills and qualifications, as well as insights from professionals who are currently working in these roles. And you can see 14 career profiles on the screen, ranging from research to regulatory and HR roles. Next slide, please. So I want to provide an example how it looks like the one career profile. Here is one specifically for human resources and people operations roles. As you can see, the top provides an overview, followed by a list of everyday tasks and responsibilities. You can see who is hiring, the list of skills and qualifications, and program alumni quotes. On the next slide, also another example. Here you can see an overview of careers in finance and accounting, because today we are discussing the diversity of life sciences industry careers. I just wanted to show what options we can have, and all of these resources of all of these profiles are linked in our also website, and we will share these links also after the career panel. Next slide, please. So our program also provides career development resources to students in New York City. Here are some resources that you can use while you are looking for new opportunities. On the right-hand side, you can see links to career profiles, resume and cover letter cheat sheet, professional letter cheat sheets. On the other side are more details about our program, a link to our office hours with our placement team, as well as links to our social media to get updates about new job openings and career development events. So you can always reach out to us if you have any questions about our program via internships@upperweststrategies.com email. Next, I want to invite you to join our Career Development Network LinkedIn group to learn more about career resources, events, and job openings in New York City and contribute to our growing life sciences community. So I hope you already is part of this community, but if not, you're welcome to join. We also share some job openings here too in New York City. And now I would like to welcome our three guest panelists today. We have here Caroline Kulig, VC and Director of Talent Acquisitions at Havas Health. Welcome. We have Josh Fleishman, Pharm.D, Biotech Equity Research Associate at TD Cowen. And Josh is also 2021 program alumnus. And also please welcome Kimberly Fung, 2019 program alumna. Kimberly is Senior Scientific Director, Medical Affairs at IMPRINT Publication Science. So thank you everyone for being with us today and agreeing to be our speakers. To start off, can all three of you please introduce yourself and provide a brief description of like company, title, summary of education, including major and career path up to this point. Please, stage is yours.
I can jump in. Hi, everyone. Super excited to chat with you all about, for me in particular, different career paths in the marketing, advertising, and communication space for life science folks. My name is Caroline. I lead talent acquisition at Havas Health, which is a major network of marketing, advertising, and communications agencies aimed at health and wellness clients. So everything from some full service direct to consumer, advertising that you would see on TV and digital and social to much more nuanced, public relations strategies, going to congresses, updating different materials for doctors and healthcare professionals. We really do it all. I was not a life sciences major. I studied communications at Boston College. I had no idea what I wanted to do. I was pre-law for a little bit. I had some marketing internships. I had some recruiting internships. So huge advocate for job shadowing, taking advantage of different internships and then kind of seeing where you land from there. But yeah, excited to be here.
Thank you.
Sure. I'll take it from there. My name's Josh Fleishman. I'm a Biotech Equity Research Associate at TD Cowen. And I'm lucky enough where essentially my job is I get to talk to investors all day about knowing the ins and outs of biotech companies. And that can range from preclinical, clinical, commercial stage across any different disease area, small molecules, biologics, all the gambit. I graduated with my doctorate in pharmacy school last year from St. John's University. And during my education, I was an intern with LifeSci NYC at a small gut-brain axis Parkinson's biotech called Stellate Therapeutics, which was an amazing experience where I got to learn a lot about bioinformatics, medicinal chemistry, pharmacology. And after graduating, I've been lucky enough to be here for about 1.5 years now. So looking forward to having a great discussion today.
Thank you, Josh.
Hi, everyone. I'm Kimberly Fung, and it's a pleasure to participate in this panel. So I'm a Senior Scientific Director at IMPRINT Science, which is a healthcare communications company that is also part of the VML Health Network. So essentially, my job is really to write scientific publications that are catered towards healthcare professionals. and healthcare providers, as well as the general public. I got my PhD at the CUNY Graduate Center in 2020, majoring in chemistry. And beforehand, I was a chemistry major at the Macaulay Honors College at Hunter. And this is kind of like where I got my start. Initially, I wanted to go into scientific research, but I actually pivoted, which is how I ended up here, but I'll talk a bit more about that later. I had the pleasure of being part of the internship program in 2019, where I worked at MD Calc, which is a healthcare company that specializes in the creation and development of medical calculators, as well as guidelines catered towards healthcare providers. And that was a great experience, and it was really helpful in moving towards my career journey in medical affairs.
Thank you, Kimberly.
Thank you.
So as you can see, we have so much different career paths for three of you, and it's I'm really excited to learn more. That's why let's dive into more details. I prepared a few questions for that. This question is for Kimberly and Josh. What led you to consider a career path outside of traditional laboratory research, and how did you make that transition?
I'm happy to go first on this. So when I was a chemistry student at when I was getting my bachelor's degree, I actually really wanted to do research. So I actually applied for the PhD in chemistry program because I was really interested in doing research, specifically in oncology. However, I think as you know, with science, there's a lot of trial and error involved. And throughout my PhD program, it was definitely a struggle to develop experiments. And you also kind of try many different ways to get your experiments to kind of, I think, to get the result that you're hoping to get, based on your hypothesis and your prior literature research. And I think after a while, it started to wear me down. So I think towards kind of the middle of my PhD program, towards, I would say, like the fourth year, I decided that maybe it was time to consider like non-bench research career opportunities. So specifically, that's why I applied for the LifeSci NYC internship program, because I really wanted to take a look to see what the options were out there. And it also provided a great opportunity to really try to utilize the skills that I developed in the PhD program for a different purpose. And what I really liked about it is that, you had a short period of time to really kind of experiment in something new and to challenge yourself. Because again, when you're doing a lot of lab research, I think that becomes your ultimate focus. And a lot of times PhD programs tend to guide you towards an academic career, which is a lot of what your PIs may be doing. So sometimes you may feel like you may need to continue that path, but I think getting the chance to really explore this, non-traditional career path was really helpful.
Sure. So to follow up on that, I was dead set that preclinical research and development was going to be where I wanted to go for my entire career, and LifeSci helped me really refocus that. So after my 10-week internship with Stellate Therapeutics, I was with them for about a year and a half, 2 years, same role, same job, and it was excellent, and I loved it. And something happened that I didn't expect at the time. They went bankrupt, and it taught me very clearly that you can have excellent science, you can have excellent bench work, but at the end of the day, if you want to get a drug out that can help people and actually make a difference in patients' lives, you need good drugs, good management, and good financial support behind that. So that started my interest on the finance and business side of drugs. And once I learned that I can apply all of the interesting science that I learned in school with all the interesting financial math and business stuff that I had to learn, that's what led me to equity research.
That's really interesting to hear. And also I feel like when you have hands-on experience with internship, you can always understand if the direction that you are is really yours, or you like it or not. Yeah, that's great. And next, I want to ask Caroline. how did your background in art and communication inspire you to recruit in the life sciences? And do you think individuals with a science background can also excel in the HR role?
100%. I would, like I said, kind of up top, arts and sciences was definitely for me because I had no idea what I wanted to do post grad. So I loved communications as a major because I definitely was just very curious in how different people think and interact, which I think leads well into my role today. I love chatting with folks about what they're interested in, how they, see themselves in a potential career, what they want to do 5 years from now, what that all looks like. So that was definitely a good fit there. I think folks in life sciences could do so many things within the like marketing, advertising, and HR space. Some of them at Havas are very obvious. If we're partnering with very high science clients, then even if you're on the account, project management, or strategy side, nevertheless medical, which is like super apparent for having that tie-in and background, having that sort of knowledge is just as valuable as folks that we bring in who have more traditional, marketing and advertising classes and experience, but don't necessarily know, the oncology space or the life sciences space as well. I think just as much, HR too. Someone who might be interested in recruiting or a similar scenario could bring a really cool analytical mindset, or again, could even understand, honestly, a lot of the roles that I fill probably even better than I do. So just because they're bringing that skill set and not as much a background in recruiting could bring a really cool and valuable perspective to the role.
Thank you so much. I really like what you said, like that every background can bring something, some new perspective, right? In specific field, and having this different backgrounds even could benefit, right, for specific occasion.
Definitely.
Yeah, thank you. Question to Kimberly, because you are in very fascinating field like medical affairs. Can you expand on what a job in medical affairs entails? I'm pretty sure most of our participants, they're not really aware about this side.
Sounds good. So I think sometimes medical affairs, sometimes you've heard different terms for it. When you look at people's titles, for example, sometimes you hear about medical communications. It can also be called medical writing. So essentially what we really do is to write publications that are catered towards educating healthcare providers on certain drugs. And so a lot of the time, this data is coming from clinical trial materials. And what my day-to-day really kind of entails is a lot of it is, when you have a specific congress, a medical congress, I'm developing different presentations, I'm writing different manuscripts for journals, I'm also working on congress presentations and posters. So that's one asset. But again, medical communications can actually also include a lot of other materials, such as podcasts. You may be doing videos, advisory boards, where you invite a pharmaceutical company would invite a physician over, and you would have a discussion about certain elements of the drug or certain clinical trial data that you're hoping to get their opinion on. So it can really range in terms of all these different assets. And in addition to the writing portion, I think initially when I was starting in medical writing, I focused a lot more on the writing aspects, but then as I advanced in my career, there's also a management aspect to it where you're also managing different accounts. And by account, I mean a certain pharmaceutical client, because I work as a part of an agency. So for our client, we have a specific account that it works on a particular therapeutic area, such as for me, I worked a lot in oncology and hematology. So I also manage a lot of the publications and a lot of the materials for the account, as well as also the people and how to delegate different assignments. So I think that has also become a part of my position as I've advanced, as well as, being able to review what the other people have developed. So yeah, I think this is just kind of a general summary of my day to day, and it really varies with, what your client brings and what they're hoping to achieve, you know, for a specific quarter in a specific year.
Yeah, thank you so much, Kimberly, for sharing your perspective. As someone who already had some experience in medical affairs, I totally agree. It's really varies from a company to company, and like medical communication is one only part of medical affairs, right? And
Yes.
it's really interesting if you are interested in understanding this field more. I would suggest MAPS, to have a look to MAPS, Medical Affairs Professionals Society, where they train and give a lot of materials to those who are interested in becoming professional in this field.
Thank you, Zara. And I think another organization I would recommend is also the AMWA organization. So this is the American Medical Writers Association. So they also give a lot of materials on how you can start it in medical writing, and they have like a great guide to getting started.
Great, thank you. Great advice. Next, I want to ask Josh. Biotech equity research is a less obvious path for science graduates. What advice would you give to someone curious about combining biotech knowledge with finance and business?
Yeah, great question. I'd say it really has to do with taking that same in-depth magnifying glass that you apply to the life sciences and applying that to the finance and the business side. So if this is an industry that you're interested in, that you think you might like, you need to attack it with the same interest and intent that you attack the biotech field with. You know, if you're reading a paper for a drug and you're looking at it and you're analyzing, well, why was it displayed this way? Why? And you dig to the deepest level you can. If you apply that same rationale to business, to finance, and you really dig to the nitty-gritty about what's going on at its deepest level, and then you combine the two, that's the secret sauce that really empowers you to do the best work you can.
Thank you. That's great to learn and great advice. Okay, because we have HR representative here, we can't miss asking more questions about that. And Caroline, what do you look for in candidates? How do you evaluate potential candidates who may not have direct experience, but show interest and adaptability?
Totally. Great question. I would say definitely do your research. This is art. You're already on the right track coming to this. Start to look at different job descriptions for roles that you might be interested in. A lot of times, you might, if say I put in the chat, you might be interested in going into what we call in like account executive, an account manager, entry level type role at one of these medical communications agencies. And that type of role only requires a bachelor's or master's degree. A lot of that is, you know, having strong writing skills, communication skills. You're basically the liaison between a Kimberly and her team and then the client, and helping present the work, make sure everything is on track, on budget, things like that. And so honestly, being able to show transferable skills, are you involved? Are you kind of the, you know, leader in certain clubs that you're involved in? Did you craft communications and work with clients in any sort of internships? I love folks that have also worked in the service industry. I think people who are front of house or, you know, waitresses or bartenders, who are cashiers at stores, that's exactly what is client facing. So to pair those types of soft skills then with a background in life sciences, I think sometimes you just have to get a little bit creative and then be able to put the whole story of how you can, you know, bring these different experiences into the role that you're looking for. So definitely encourage folks to really read into job descriptions and take out some of those keywords and see how you can fit that into your experience. And it does not have to be an exact role that you've had before. But again, do you volunteer? A lot of times you can get great experience from volunteering, from clubs that you're involved in, anything like that. And then I had one more thing that I was gonna say, but I was gonna forget. Oh, and similar, going to panels or networking events like this. If you find folks on LinkedIn, if you reach out to people and you notice that they're connected or they know someone who's in a role that you're interested in, see if you can grab time with them just to understand, what they do in their day to day. That way you can, again, kind of take some of those real life experiences and then figure out how to best present them in your resume.
Thank you so much. It sounds like you take into account a lot of things, right? When you decide on candidates.
Totally. I'm like a perfect example of someone that I started in strategy in an advertising agency, like full consumer, not in health agency at all, working on like traditional TV stuff. And then moved into what we call new business. So pitching out to new clients and then transitioned into talent acquisition. And one of the reasons why I love working in talent is I want to, give back and do the same thing and find folks that don't necessarily have an exact linear background, but bring really different, great perspectives from all different roles, classes they've taken, etc.
That's great. Thank you so much. We have few questions. We will get there after a while, but I have a few more questions, and then we will open up the Q&A session. You can start writing your questions in the chat. To all of our panelists, I want to ask what transferable skills from your academic training have proven most useful to transition to your current role? You can mention one or two, like briefly.
I'm happy to start. So
Yep.
I think that really important is actually collaboration, because a lot of times in medical affairs, we're working with our colleagues to develop certain publications and certain materials. And oftentimes, I think it's really important to be able to communicate with them, because a lot of times you also, you may be on a really tight deadline and you have to make sure that you can, as a team, make sure you can meet these deadlines. So I think that's really important to be able to work together in a really concise way, and also to be able to make sure that the team can meet the expectations as well. And I think another skill that a lot of us have from, even a bachelor's program as well as a PhD program is a lot of times the scientific kind of way of thinking, being able to read scientific literature, interpreting it, writing a paper, or making a presentation on something that you have read. I think that's also really important, especially I think for medical writing roles, but it can also work for a lot of adjacent roles, in communications as well.
Thank you.
Sure. And piggybacking off of what Kimberly said, big things that I apply every day is collaboration, working with teammates to try and get that common goal done. Communication is such an important thing that, I had to apply over from my science background, because in this line of work, every word that you write is analyzed. And you need to make sure that every word you write can't be misinterpreted the wrong way, because it can completely change the meaning of what you're saying. And the last thing would be, again, digging down to the deepest when you're writing about things. You're looking at a drug. You can't write surface level. You have to make sure that you really give your clients what they ask for, and that's the most advanced explanation.
I'm not just saying this, but I also was going to say collaboration in my role. So seems like across all really important to jump in and get along with your team and be willing to pitch in, hand things off, etc. Kind of similarly, the other skill set I think that's super important is just like a willingness and curiosity to continue to learn. For my role, especially, again, I have no life sciences background. So the fact that I spend a lot of my day now learning about these different roles and pharma companies that we're working with, and then being able to liaise that back to different students and recent grads that I'm speaking with is something that I would have never guessed that I would be doing, 2-3 years ago. And I think, with AI and so many new things coming out, I will hopefully be recruiting for roles 5 years from now that don't even exist right now. So I think being able to keep up with the marketplace and continue to just have a curiosity to continue to, always learn and expand get involved in new ways and expand your skill set is important.
Thank you so much. I can like infer like summarize that communication and collaboration key, like overall, right? Last question from my side, because we have questions in the chat too. So very briefly, can you give answer to this? So the life sciences field is rapidly evolving, and what emerging non-lab career paths do you see becoming more important in the next 5 years? Just from your perspective.
Sure. I can start on that. I think the most important careers that are going to be highlighted are those that are at the interface of two different classical careers. So science and law, science and tech, science and finance, taking that life science background and bringing it to a field where the main practitioners there might have a little bit of an idea, but you bringing that extra skill set really makes you a valuable candidate, especially in the life sciences, as people have skill sets in newer technologies like gene therapies, like gene editing. You take that expertise and you put it into a place where people might have more of a surface level outlook. You're really a valuable asset.
Thank you.
Yeah, I would say rather than, I can't think of like very specific roles, but I think the intersection of those soft skills and bringing a human approach to a very analytical background, I think will be really important as we, work more and more with AI. Being in, for client services type roles specifically, everything that we do needs to be backed by data. We can't just be like, hey, we think this will be a fun Super Bowl commercial, or here's why we should, put something in Times Square versus on a podcast versus on TV. We need to have exact metrics as to why we are doing what we were doing. So I think having that sort of, analytical type background will continue to be super important. But at the same time, I think always just resting on laurels and numbers, isn't good enough. I think being able to have a really human approach and bring ethics to the role and be able to raise your hand and have uncomfortable conversations will continue to be, super important as we head, into more and more technological advances.
Yeah,
Great. Sure.
thank
Continue.
you. I just wanted to piggyback a little bit on, I think, what Caroline was saying about, first of all, having as we have more technological advances, I think I've also received a lot of questions lately about, whether AI is going to take people's jobs away, for example. And I think one thing to really remember is that AI is also a tool that we need to be able to learn. And I do think that as clients are starting to ask more and more about AI, really actually taking the time to learn more about it, being knowledgeable about it, and being able to start using it in obviously compliant ways will make you a stronger candidate in the future, because then you will become more efficient and more productive, and you just have to find out a way to use it within the ethical guidelines.
Yeah, thank you so much. So AI will impact future careers, and we need to be more humanized, right? In this case. Thank you so much. I'm gonna open up our Q&A part, and I see that there are some great questions in the chat. I like this one. Could you please tell us about the minimum educational background you need for your industry role? Do you need a PhD? Is master enough? Are there ways in which a bachelor could get involved? Great question.
I can answer for, again, more of like the advertising, marketing, medical affairs, medcoms. I'm curious what Kimberly sees at her agency. I will say for more of our medical writing, which then moves up to like associate medical director, scientific director, that type of path, we do typically require a PhD, Pharm.D, or MD. Very occasionally, we will allow a master's student if they just have like a ton of relevant internships. That said, again, there are so many different, we also need folks in project management, account, operations, you know, more traditional strategy, data and analytics, like everything else that's keeping the wheels moving. So there's definitely ways to get involved, even if you're not going more of the traditional medical writing route.
Thank you, Caroline.
Yeah, so I think what Caroline said is pretty reflective of what I see at my agency as well. The majority of people in medical writing roles are PhDs and Pharm.Ds at my company. And in the client-facing roles, such as accounts team, I actually do see a lot of bachelor's and master's students, mostly a lot in public health. But I think, again, sometimes PhD students can also transition to accounts roles, because I think it also involves a lot of communication in life sciences. So yeah, I think that's kind of the summary of what I've been seeing at my agency.
And then
Thank you. Mhm.
for us, the overwhelming majority of my teammates have a PhD, MD, Pharm.D, that type of background. There are some people with masters, even fewer with bachelors. Really depends on your ability to talk about the domain expertise in biotech. So if you have a bachelor's or a master's and you're able to really prove that you have that domain expertise, the role is open, but it's a more challenging process.
Thank you. Thank you so much. But there are ways to get there, right? It's not that like only PhD, Pharm.D, and yeah, starting something like more operational maybe will help you to get there. Like, thank you so much. There is a question, it's a similar question for medical writing, which then leads into scientific directors. Oh, this is sorry. Okay, this question is for Josh. How do you recommend preparing for equity research interviews? What type of financial modeling skills are expected from PhD students without formal finance training? Thank you.
Sure. I'd say that it's a few different things. First thing I want to say is that YouTube is your best friend with resources, what we're on right now. Lots of great tutorials to learn about the basics of financial modeling. But what I'd say going into an interview, there's two major skill sets you need to have. One is accurately writing under time crunches. So if I were you, go to a company you're interested in, look at a press release where they're talking about data or a big event that happened, and give yourself an hour to write up a type of note that we would be writing in equity research, and see what you put out, see the quality of what you wrote, and see if you could improve it over time. On the financial modeling side, you know, this isn't investment banking, so I wouldn't focus as much on traditional three-statement models. I'd say that the two primary things that are the most important for us is accurately making an income statement that models out, let's say, research and development costs or, you know, administrative costs, and making market models to understand how large is the market that a drug could target, and what are the factors that can influence how fast that drug captures some fraction of that market and how much money it could make. And then the last thing on top of that is valuation. So I'd be very familiar with how like a discounted cash flow analysis works.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Next question. I think I can ask this question to Sally. Hi, Sally. As a first semester undergrad trying to meet electrical engineering requirements, would I still have a shot at applying for internship and job opportunities at LifeSci, or should I wait till more experience as a student?
Hi, Wolf. I'm looking at our job descriptions right now. We generally don't have roles specifically for electrical engineering, but we sometimes have other engineering roles. What I would recommend for you is to sign up for an office hours, which we offer one-on-one working with students to help workshop your resume, your cover letter, and really see what roles would be suitable for you.
Thank you so much. Another question. Here, yeah. I'm thinking of entering the health field as a computer science student, especially as a data engineering and working with large databases, medical medicine fields, the epidemiology field. I want to know if there were technical roles and opportunities present in LifeSci. So I think this question is for us. Yeah, you can have a look to our, once you are an applicant, you will be able to see all the job openings that we have. You definitely can find something that of interest to you. About program. Hi, I graduated in January 2024. Am I still eligible to apply? Yes, you are eligible to apply to the program. What does your industry generally hire? Is it rolling, or are there certain times where hiring is popular? Maybe Caroline, you can answer this part.
Yeah, I can speak for Havas. I assume probably similar to some other agencies for that industry as well. We do have a very big summer internship program. Unfortunately, right now we just do the summer. I kind of wish that we did year round, but we have a great summer internship. So those applications typically open up. Encourage everyone to follow Havas and Havas Health on LinkedIn, and then you'll see they open up around December, January, and then interview January through Marchish and try to have offers out like April or May. And then this internship is in mostly New York City. And then we also have some small offices in Boston, Chicago, and San Francisco as well. That's over the summer. And then kind of duality for recent grads, both undergrad and master's, PhDs, etc. We have what we call our fellowship program that we take on folks in September. So we just had a bunch of fellows start, both for like medical writing and then account, public relations, strategy, operations, project management, that are assigned to different agencies. And that starts in September and February. So right now our application is open and we are actively hiring and interviewing and want offers to go out this fall and winter for our next cohort to start in February. And then once we fill that, we start again for September. That's for a fellowship. And then of course, if you're like a year or two outside of, you know, those programs and then or just have like general work experience, then we are, you know, actively hiring all the time for folks with like 1 to 2+ years of experience.
Thank you so much. Yeah, the correction, because it says January 2024. Unfortunately, to the question if someone graduating in January 2024 is still eligible. Unfortunately, no, because if you are you will be eligible if you are a recent graduate from spring 2024 or later. So this is correction. Sorry for that. Another question here. What is what is a major challenge for you face when you transition from academia? Good question.
I can start on that. That's an excellent question. I'd say in academia, you have a tremendous amount of time to absorb as much information as possible, analyze it slowly, ponder, and then maybe get to a result when you choose. Big difference I've had is that there's a big time constraint, that you have a very limited amount of time to see what you're being given, to think about how you want to formulate a response, and push out a fast, well-worded response. That's really been the most drastic change. The other thing that I highlighted earlier was the importance of communication. And in academia, it might not have been emphasized as much, but especially in this role, you know, the tone of your communication, the word choice of your communication is very, very, very important.
Yeah, completely agree with what Josh was saying about that being a major challenge. I think oftentimes when you're in academia, you're often in a position where you think that you kind of have to resolve all of the problems before going to your PI. And a lot of the times it also makes it kind of isolating because you're trying to figure out exactly how to approach the problem. So I think here you really need to communicate well with your colleagues, and specifically for medical affairs, for your account directors, because it's important to get questions out quicker so that you are able to meet client deadlines, and also so that you can resolve the problem as a team rather than trying to approach a problem individually. So I think getting out of that kind of individual mindset can be really helpful.
Thank you so much. I have one question here for Caroline. Going back to what Caroline said, for career shadowing, what are your tips for researching out, and also when you do shadow, what has your experience generally been like?
Good questions. I would say like just starting to generally look for different roles on LinkedIn, going to your career services at the institutions that you're at, just doing as much research as you can of getting different job titles, what companies that they're at, and then searching for LinkedIn. So if you're interested in, a medical writing role or, an account executive role or anything, like that, if you're interested in a fellowship, at Havas, then even just searching like fellow at Havas on LinkedIn and seeing who we've hired recently and potentially trying to find someone who has a similar background to you and then reaching out. I always say you would think I work in recruiting. So you would think for me in particular that people are like blowing up my LinkedIn DMs all the time. They're honestly like less than you would think. And I think especially people who don't work in recruiting, people love to talk about themselves. They love to talk about what they do. So I think, the worst thing is that they leave you on red and don't say anything. But I think a lot of times when I give this advice, people are surprised how many folks are willing to, pick up the phone and chat with you for 10 minutes about their day-to-day, answer your questions. And that's how you're never, it's so hard to just read a job description and understand what the role is like. And so the best is to, really have these types of conversations, and then you can take kind of that insider info and cater your resume accordingly. It's also a great way to find out about, roles that might be coming down that aren't even posted yet, or just continue to get connected on to other folks from there, from someone who's like, what, actually based on, you're passionate about this. I typically work on a neurology account, but I love that you're interested in immunology. Let me hook you up with my colleague who does that. And a lot of times it'll just kind of organically move from there. So highly recommend using LinkedIn as a tool, and just kind of surfing, different job descriptions and reading, and then career services, where you are as well, to see where recent grads have gone that you could potentially reach out to, where you have different connections through them, or if they have kind of a basis of different job descriptions that you can start to read through to familiarize yourself with roles that you might be interested in.
Thank you so much. Thank you. I just want to see if we missed any question here to our panelists. There is a question about if there are options for unpaid internships as well. This is for us. Our program is only offers only paid internships and jobs. So for us, no. A question, is there neuroscience research assistant or intern positions? We have very diverse roles in our program. So right now I don't have access to see if we have one, but definitely you need to have your application and check out all the time the new openings, and you will find there definitely whatever you're looking for. Okay. So if there's anything I miss, you can help me. I think we are good now. There was a question about cybersecurity roles. We for our program, we don't offer that much cybersecurity roles, but you can have a look to other type of roles where you can have some, you need some computer science knowledge and data science knowledge, and you can implement your knowledge there. So have a look to our openings. As one question here, as communication skill is such an important factor, what advices would you give to improve on these skills during grad school? Thank you. I think this is a great question.
Agreed. I can give a little advice on this. So I think you just really need to use all the opportunities that you have, because a lot of times during grad school, there are things such as perhaps you have a lab meeting where you have to present your results to your PI and your colleagues. There is also, some work in progress meetings, maybe through your graduate school. I think, again, any opportunity that you really have to craft a presentation, present it, I think you'll really use that to communicate. And also, you can also ask for feedback from your colleagues, and as well as, some friends as well from grad school to kind of give you advice on how to better communicate. And then again, I think it's also important to network, because that's another opportunity where maybe you can join some related organizations so that you have more opportunities to give presentations and to speak with others on similar with similar goals.
Thank you. Thank you. Anyone wants to add anything on this?
Yeah, I'd say that the best thing you could do is record yourself speak and listen and watch yourself speak. There are things that you do when you speak that you're not aware of, but when you watch that, you'll sit back and you'll say, wow, I don't like how I said 15 times. I don't like how I kept taking my hand and I rubbed my cheek every time I speak. You notice these things, you can weed them out, and it'll make you a more efficient speaker. And just one last thing, one thing you could do to practice that every day is take your phone. Who cares if you're recording your face, but just to listen to the audio, talk about your day for 10 minutes and listen to what vocal patterns you have. It's really important.
Yeah, I like this idea. Sometimes you need to hear yourself from the side and understand if you are good at speaking. And it's really useful tip. Thank you. Another question here. I have some background knowledge in data analysis. Are there any entry-level roles in data analytics within the healthcare field at LifeSci? Great question. Research type of roles, usually like you can always find some research roles that they need data scientific knowledge and data analysis. So you can always have a look to those type of roles. We have those in our program, so you can have a look and see how your skills could be implemented there. I think that's it for today. Our time is clock is ticking, so I want to thank everyone for being here today, tonight, and for our wonderful panelists. Thank you so much. You gave so much useful information and insights from your field, and I hope our participants, they will take this and try to create something based on your advices. Thank you so much. Have a great evening and see you next time. Bye-bye.